Netflix reality TV show Love is Blind is full of opportunities to see the suffering we create when we don't listen. In this episode, I'm going to share some clips from season 4 Love is Blind with Marshall and Jackie to help demonstrate more of what I'm talking about. Hi, I'm Julia Woods, a couples coach, trainer, and founder of Beautiful Outcome, a coaching company committed to help couples communicate so they can build thriving lifetime marriages. Make sure you stay to the end because I have a gift waiting for you that is going to help you do exactly that. Now, love is something that all of us long for. And in the TV series Love is Blind, individuals who've decided they're ready to fall in love and get married, they join the show to find someone to marry. The first few weeks, they spend their time dating other individuals of the opposite sex in what they call pods. In the pods, the couples are blindly falling in love, meaning they can't see the person they're talking to. They can just connect emotionally through conversations. From there, if they feel they've fallen in love with someone, they ask them to marry them, and at that point, they will see them for the first time in person. They then spend the next 4 weeks dating and deciding if this is the person they actually want to marry. This clip from the show I want to focus on today is with a couple named Marshall and Jackie. Now, let me preface this by saying we're only given a glimpse. So there's likely a lot more to the story, but based on the glimpses we see, here's what we're going to talk about. I want to show you this clip where Marshall has already proposed to Jackie, and now they're at a restaurant in Mexico together on basically one of their first in-person dates.
Weirdo, and you're like one of these bozos out here in the streets. I'm not worried about you at all. I'm really not. I'm worried about me. Because I go back home, and it could be like a flip of a switch, or I can go back to how I used to be. And I don't want to do that, because you don't deserve that.
We'll be fine. I'm not worried about it.
I hope.
You're just in your head about it.
Do you notice that he didn't ask any questions? As humans, we hear what we want to hear. Jackie says she's worried that when she goes back home, she could go back to who she used to be. She says it's like the flip of a switch. Now, that's pretty important to pay attention to if you're falling in love with someone and considering marrying them. And pretty important to ask some questions and investigate what might be in those very important words that she expressed about her own darkness. Joseph Campbell says, "The cave we fear to enter holds the treasure that we seek." It's easier to just listen for what we want to hear rather than entering into the discovery. What does she mean? Who did she used to be? What makes the switch flip? But what does Marshall say? We'll be fine. I'm not worried about it. And then he rationalizes away what she's saying by telling her that she's just in her head.
I'm not worried about it.
I hope.
You're just in your head about it.
Like all the time I'm in my head. I just don't want to push you away.
You won't. You won't. No one is perfect. We have to rely on each other to get us through those imperfections. Remember what you always used to tell me. Just give yourself grace.
I know.
Just like you tell me to give myself grace. You'll be fine.
She again warns him that she is afraid she will push him away. Once again, he tells her what she needs to do to rationalize away her concerns.
I've been the guy to walk away when it got hard. I ain't doing that shit again. Look at me. I ain't doing that shit again. You're stuck with me. I'm talking to you straight up. I ain't doing that shit again.
Now, he tells her, I've been the guy who walked away when it got hard. And 3 times he emphasizes he ain't doing that again. She doesn't ask any questions either, from what we can see from this clip. She tells him it is sweet, and then the scene cuts. Now, why does this matter? Because this is human behavior that all of us do every day. We listen for what we want to hear with our spouse. And then later, when things don't go the way we want them to go, or we wind up feeling like we were blindsided. However, we weren't blindsided. We just weren't listening. When we want something to turn out a certain way, we don't listen for what might get in the way of it turning out like that. We don't stop and get present with what is being said in ways that we could actually help change the course of what's happening. We don't want to pay attention. And subconsciously, we're letting the boat float in the same direction and to the same destination it's floated many times before. We keep repeating our past and we don't know why. And we then think something's wrong with us. Like these things just keep happening to me. Like, look at the next clip that appears to pick up a few hours after Jackie said she didn't want to push him away.
Put that back in the fridge.
She shuts herself in the closet and pushes him away. She did what she said she was afraid she would do. She warned him.
What can I do to get us back to the moment that we were having before? Before home came back into play.
See the pattern? We don't want to be with what is. We want to get back to where everything feels good. This is, again, what we do as humans, and most of the time we're completely unaware. We don't want to be with what is. We don't want to enter the dark place of uncertainty. We want to live in the temporary feel-good of hearing the things we want to hear.
I think this place right now is just temporary. I go back to that shit, man.
We talked about this. Yeah, I got you.
I gotta go back to this shit.
You're not going back alone. You know that, right?
He says all the right things. He has her. She isn't going back alone. What he isn't asking, from what we can see, is what is it that she's afraid of? What is it that she needs? I resonate with that despair. I've been there. You want your spouse to be in a certain place, feel a certain way, do the things you want, get back to when it was feeling good just hours before. You feel like you're loving them, supporting them, and saying all the right things, but it doesn't seem to be working. What if it isn't about saying all the right things? What if it is about actually listening to what they are saying and asking questions? It's uncomfortable to just be with what is. When our spouse is upset, we want to make them happy. However, making them happy ignores what is really going on and pushes it off to a bigger issue later. It's like a knot in your hair. It's painful to face those little knots in our hair, but the longer we postpone facing that little knot, the bigger it gets. Eventually, the knot will come through the comb, and often by the time it does, it's so big it requires a lot more devastating measures to deal with it. This is life. My invitation to us is to let Marshall and Jackie remind us that difficult conversations don't go away. They just get harder to have. What is your spouse saying that you might be rationalizing away? Just today, I was frustrated about something and my husband asked me to stop being frustrated. Rather than asking me questions about what I was frustrated about, it's default in our human DNA to want to get whatever is uncomfortable to go away. I do it, he does it, we all do it. The opportunity is to notice it, slow down, and be with what is there. My invitation to you is to enter the cave of uncertainty by actually listening generously to what your spouse is saying and ask questions. If you don't need to fix or change where they are and you're willing to be with where they are, what treasure might be waiting for both of you? If you enjoyed this episode, would you like it? Would you subscribe so you don't miss another episode? And would you comment and tell me whether you have watched Love is Blind and what you think? I want to remind you about that gift that I offered you. It is called 100 Deeper Connection Prompts and Ideas. This will give you 100 different ways to have deeper conversations, to be with what's there in your relationship, and to keep growing your connection so you can have the relationship that you long for. Thanks for joining me today. Your gift is in the show notes under this video. Hey, hon. You know, yesterday when I sighed in frustration and you asked me to just stop sighing, what do you think made you not want to question what I was sighing about? How so? And so how is that about you?
What I could have been doing for cutting stress or feeling because of my choices.
So I had no frustration towards you, but you listened to my sigh and thought it was about you.
Yes.
That was good.